Hello, my friends. I hope this finds you well and in a happy mood, because I have some good news to share with you. Today, I'm going to show you how to argue about religion and never lose. Ready? Here we go. When you and I argue about religion, our argument is typically resolved in one of the following three ways. The first, clear, ancient way is, I'm right and you're wrong. I win and you lose. This is the well-worn, blood-stained path that leads to religious wars, religious terrorism, religious persecution, and so on down the ugly list. I'm right and you're wrong is sometimes calmed down and prettied up as agreeing to disagree. But agreement to disagree simply means that each of us walks away privately thinking, I am right and you are wrong. Well, neither of us has actually won the argument. We have both lost. We may both be grateful that neither has the power to impose his view on the other by main force, but our agreement has widened rather than narrowed the chasm between us. The second, equally clear, bracingly modern way is resolution by the arrival of a skeptical referee who says, he's wrong, and by the way, you're wrong too. You both lose. Your views are so incompatible that you cannot both be right, but you can quite easily both be wrong. Implicit in this resolution is the view that religion itself is a fool's game that smart people no longer play. Why argue when nothing of consequence is at stake? The third, hopelessly unclear but cheerfully American way is, I'm right and you're right too, and let's let it go at that. Let's just ignore the inconvenient issues that drove our forebears to stone their opponents to death. I readily honor the good intentions and often the blessedly good effects of the American way, murky as it is, but my mind demands a tougher resolution. For this reason, I am attracted to a fourth way that happens to have venerable precedent in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, not to speak of other religions. This is the way of indefinite postponement and deferral to the judgment of God. It amounts to saying, if our argument is about God, let's let God resolve it. Postponement, unlike evasion, allows the unresolved issues between us to be issues of real consequence, issues that smart people can and do still argue about. It has that much intellectual bite to it. Yet, it allows me neither to defeat you nor to surrender to you, but just to wait patiently with you in the divine antechamber for a resolution that now lies beyond us both. In the Quran, this is the patience that God counsels in Surah 5, Ayah 48. For every community we decreed a law and a way of life. Had God willed, he could have made you a single community, but in order to test you in what he revealed to you. So, vie with one another in virtue. To God is your homecoming, all of you, and he will then acquaint you with that over which you differed. The homecoming God speaks of here is the last judgment, and so the postponement in question is a postponement to the end of time. In Judaism, the end of time and the coming of the Messiah are heralded by the return to earth of the prophet Elijah, the prophet who did not die but was taken to heaven in a fiery chariot. But Elijah, at his coming, will also resolve all questions that the rabbis and everybody else have been unable to resolve. The Hebrew word teko, meaning tie, is in a tie game, is originally a rabbinic acronym for Tishbe will resolve all difficulties and problems. Elijah, who apparently came from a town called something like Tishbe, is called Tishbe or the Tishbite in rabbinic tradition. Once again, then, we are counseled to accept with patience the indefinite postponement of answers to the questions and disputes that we ourselves cannot now resolve. In Christianity, the Last Judgment as evoked in the Gospel of Matthew makes the very knowledge of Christ strikingly irrelevant. Those who feed the hungry, shelter the homeless, clothe the naked, and visit the imprisoned will, on the last day, be credited with performing these services for Christ, whether they knew it or not, and whether, or so I take it, they have ever even heard of him. The transparent moral here is very close to the Quran's "so vie with one another in virtue, while you wait patiently for the justice to be accomplished that is now beyond all human doing." Rather than agree to disagree, then, my modest proposal is that we simply agree to wait together for what is now beyond reach. I expect to die with many questions unresolved, not just religious ones, don't you? And how can we know whether we will not die with some crucial questions still waiting to be asked? But so what? Death is like that because life itself is like that. One question leading to another and yet another until time runs out. If we can live with that knowledge, then, without telling each other any little white religious lies, maybe we can live together along the way without winning, without losing, but just as important, without abandoning even the most divisive questions. I am Jack Miles for the Emir-Stein Center.